Yeah, it was a blow. It was a good weekend for Liverpool without even kicking a ball. I mean, if Tottenham had held on against Chelsea, it would have been the perfect weekend for Liverpool. So yeah, I'm sure Arne Slot and his players were sitting back with their feet up on Saturday, enjoying what they were watching at Selhurst Park and at Craven Cottage on Sunday. For Arsenal, it was definitely a blow. You could sense it as they were walking off the pitch at Craven Cottage. I think the late goal that was ruled out sort of made it feel even worse as well, because he kind of had that high of thinking you turned it around and got 3 valuable points, and then to have it sort of taken away right at the end sort of added to the feeling of loss almost on the day, because it was definitely a case of 2 points drop for Arsenal. You know, it wasn't like last year at Craven Cottage where they were really, really poor. They didn't have much of the game, and Fulham absolutely deserved that win. It was completely opposite this time. Fulham had 2 shots in the whole game. Arsenal had all of the ball, all of the territory, all of the possession. They just couldn't take advantage of it. They couldn't do enough in that final third, despite having the ball, so much of the ball, and that was a real sort of a feeling of disappointment. I think afterwards, they knew they should have won that game. They dominated it. They should have won it, and they couldn't get themselves over the 2 really costly points dropped.
So where does that leave Arsenal, do you think, in the title race? Are they still in it? You know, you say it now, it's a 6-point gap. Doesn't seem insurmountable when you say it that way. Liverpool obviously do have that game in hand, but away at Everton, which has traditionally not been a game they win every single season. So it feels to me that Arsenal are definitely still in it. Chelsea are making their case every single week to be considered as contenders. But do you still regard Arsenal as being in that title race?
I think they're still in it, yeah, but every single drop point is just like a dagger at the moment because of that gap that Liverpool have got and the form Liverpool are showing. I really felt like if Arsenal could win every game between the last international break and the new year, that the gap would be down to sort of 4 or 5 points. And yes, it's down to 6 now, but obviously Liverpool have got that game in hand that no one was expecting, because everyone thought that Merseyside derby would go on. So they are still in it, but they just can't afford many days. And that's the problem that they've got now. You know, on the face of it, a 1-1 draw at Fulham, who was 6th going into the game, have had a really good season. It's not the worst result in the world. But when you're 9 points behind Liverpool, you know, it is. You've just got to win and keep winning, because every single drop point, it feels like a defeat. Every draw feels like a defeat. And that's the situation Arsenal find themselves in because of the form Liverpool showed and because of some of the games that have gone against Arsenal so far this season. So yeah, they are in it, but you know, as I said, every single drop point now, it just makes the mountain that little bit taller.
I suppose it must. I always think, as much as a team sort of focuses on their own results, and that's the be all and end all of the first sort of step, it must be extra frustrating when there was that chance to get that psychological boost of gaining 3 points, because Liverpool didn't play. Considering Liverpool dropped points against Newcastle in their last match as well, there was the potential for a big psychological boost there, which was just missed.
Yeah, absolutely. That sort of added to it. You knew what was on the table for Arsenal going into that game, and winning the gap was down to 4 points. And even with the game in hand, you know, scoreboard pressure can do strange things to people if you can close that gap. And I think Liverpool play on Sunday this weekend as well, don't they? You know, Arsenal play on Saturday. They had the chance to make that gap down to 1 point if they'd have won last weekend and then beaten Everton. You know, suddenly the gap's 1 point, and even with games in hand, that could just put a little bit of extra pressure onto Liverpool and make them maybe not play as freely as they have been playing. So yeah, that definitely added to the sense of disappointment afterwards. I think Mikel made that pretty clear when he spoke in the press conference as well. You know, they knew they'd missed a big opportunity at weekend, and that was disappointing.